what's in the newspaper headlines is the question you're asking.
Tell us.
Oasis, back in action. You can see the front page of the Mirror there. It says 70,000 fans in Cardiff watched the Gallagher brothers as they took to the stage together for the first time in 16 years.
The Guardian leads with the Chancellor saying she can't rule out tax rises in the autumn budget. It writes that Rachel Reeves said she never thought of quitting despite a turbulent week in which she was seen crying in the House of Commons, adding that she hoped most people could relate to her distress at work. We'll stay with politics. The Independent's reflecting on the 365 days since Labour won the general election. It takes a look at some figures from what it describes as a year of care.
And on front page of the Telegraph, there we have Cameron Norrie at Wimbledon. He has made it to the last 16 after beating Italy's Mattia Bellucci.
There was a separate protest against Israel's actions in Gaza at today's London Pride Parade. 5 members of the group Youth Demand were arrested after attacking the technology firm Cisco's float with red paint. They accused the company of enabling what they called the mass murder of Palestinians. 18 people have been injured whilst evacuating a Ryanair flight in Mallorca. The plane was about to take off for Manchester when the airline says a false alarm for fire was triggered and some passengers used emergency exits and were seen jumping from a wing.
A single mother from Ealing says her severely disabled young daughter is trapped in unsuitable temporary housing after being evicted from a council-funded property. Keena Menard says she was left to wander the streets with her 6-year-old who needs a wheelchair. They're now staying in a first-floor room, which means Keena has to carry her daughter up and down the stairs. Ealing Council says there is a severe shortage of housing in the borough, as Bhavani Vadi reports.
It's a struggle every time Kinga needs to take her daughter in or out of the room they've been placed in. Victoria has a genetic disorder called Phelan-McDermid syndrome, which means she has difficulty walking, has developmental delay and is autistic. Despite this, Kinga says she was told by Ealing Council the family needs to be homeless before they could be rehomed.
I think when the council have the paper about eviction, start straight away working and say we have procedure, you need to be homeless, and we start looking place for you.
So you were evicted from your previous accommodation,
yeah.
And then you were made homeless.
Yes.
And you had nowhere to go with Victoria.
Yes.
After 2 nights of sleeping on her friend's floor, they were placed in this first floor room with shared bathroom and kitchen facilities.
When I came here, I say that is not suitable for wheelchair, for her, the bathroom, kitchen, everything. It's so many stairs, it's so hard.
It also means that Victoria now has an hour-and-a-half journey to school on 2 buses.
We wake up at 5:30 because we need going to school. It's so far.
Ealing Council says it's sorry about the challenges facing this family and that it's looking for an accessible property for them. In a statement, a spokesperson added, "We're at the sharpest end of the national housing crisis, and with almost 7,000 local families on the waiting list for social housing, there simply aren't enough affordable homes in the borough for everyone who needs one. We are working hard to drive down the numbers of people in temporary accommodation and getting families into more suitable accommodation instead." This wider context, though, is of little comfort to Kinga, who's doing her best to care for Victoria in a space that's just not suitable for her. Bhavani Vadi, BBC London.
This year's Pride Parade in London has just set off from Hyde Park Corner. Around 500 floats and 35,000 people are expected to take part as it makes its way through central London. Freddie Tennyson has been there to meet some of those putting the final touches to their floats and performances.
Well, the threat of rain won't dampen the spirits here in Pride in London. We've already got lots of London representation on the way. We've got Tottenham Hotspur right behind me, the Royal Free Hospital. They're part of the 500 floats expected to take part, with 30,000 people marching today. As well as that, we've seen a whole host of volunteers putting it all together this morning.
We're expecting 1.5 million people. So we've got Trafalgar Square, we've got Soho Square, Golden Square stage as well. Even in Victoria Embankment, we've got the children's and families area.
As some groups here are taking the opportunity for some last-minute rehearsals.
So we are UK Pride Colour Guard. We're from all over England, basically bringing joy to London. But I do have to go and rehearse. We are going to be leading the parade. We lead the bikes out, we start the parade off, and we have a lot of trans riders, and I just think it's so important that we all stick together.
Well, Pride has always been a force for political change, but political parties are banned this year, except for the mayor. He'll be joining the parade to send the marchers on their way.
This is one of the highlights of the year, not just a cultural highlight, but a highlight of our great city. A chance for our city to come together to show the world we're a beacon of inclusiveness, a beacon of diversity, and a beacon to the LGBTQI+ community.
Hello again. Now the main stories in London. 2 men have been arrested after a man in his 30s was stabbed to death in Vauxhall early this morning. Police were called to a residential address on Bondway around 5:30 after reports of an argument. The victim was treated at the scene but died from his injuries. 2 men, aged 35 and 33, are being questioned on suspicion of murder. The South Basildon and East Thurrock MP James McMurdoch has suspended himself from Reform UK amid questions over his business affairs. The party said today that Mr McMurdoch had removed the party whip from himself pending the outcome of an investigation. The allegations are over government-backed loans that he took out during the pandemic. Mr McMurdoch has said all of his business dealings complied with regulations. Next tonight, Anthony Fatai Williams was 26 years old when he was killed along with 51 others in the 7/7 bombings. Today, almost exactly 20 years on, his family has led a memorial walk in his honour, and they expressed their frustration that there has never been a public inquiry into the tragedy. Anna Geary has the story.
I really try and remember him with a lot of joy. Each year it goes by, I meet a new friend of his. I do receive a lot of positive energy just for the fact that I am his sister. So I guess that speaks enough to the kind of person that
he touched a lot of lives. He touched a lot of lives in his own way.
2 decades after the loss of a beloved brother and son, a victim in the London bombings, they march in his honour and pray for world peace. In 2005, 26-year-old Anthony Fatai Williams was killed in Tavistock Square by a bomb which went off on a bus. One of 4 devices detonated that day. The 3 other attacks happened on the Underground. Anthony was murdered on his way to work. 51 others were killed across the capital, hundreds too were injured. Anthony's mum led a sponsored walk for her son this morning. The proceeds will pay for a stained glass tribute in Barnet for him and the other lives taken. Marie is among others asking why a formal public inquiry into what happened has never taken place.
To remember Anthony, to remember 7/7, which London is not doing. Any child born 10 years after 7/7 in London now, if you ask them 7/7, can they tell you what it means? Do they remember? What if I told a child in London today 9/11? They immediately snap and tell you what it meant.
The feeling of being left behind, or families who we don't feel acknowledged.
The government says there are no plans for an inquiry, but they are considering a national day to honour victims. Monday marks exactly 20 years since the bombings. Memorials will take place across the capital as London reflects on one of its darkest days. Anna Geary, ITV News.